Hello again, everyone. Sorry for the abrupt ending to my last video, but we will continue on now with A Thousand Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole. My Aunt Silva was sitting with my sisters, Savannah and Ida. They were younger than me, only 4 and 2 years old. They waved at me when they saw me, but Aunt Silva kept them sitting on her lap. Nobody was speaking, but lots of them were wiping their eyes. Most of them were crying. I was so confused. I leaned into my daddy's leg, clutching on tightly. Someone stood in the doorway to the kitchen. My Aunt Della, Dee Dee, as I always called her. She was my absolute favorite aunt. She was young and fun and always made me laugh. Even though my mama was older than her sister, they looked like each other. Both had long brown hair and green eyes like mine, but Dee Dee was extra pretty. I wanted to look just like her one day. "Hey, Pups," she said, but I could see that her eyes were red, and her voice sounded funny. Dee Dee looked at my daddy. She took the dish of food from his hand and said, "You go on back with Poppy, James. It's almost time." I started to go with my daddy, but looked back when Dee Dee didn't follow. I opened my mouth to call her name, but she suddenly turned around, put the dish of food on the counter, and rested her head in her hands. She was crying so hard that loud noises came from her mouth. "Daddy," I whispered, feeling a strange feeling in my stomach. My daddy wrapped his arms around my shoulders and guided me away. "It's okay, Pumpkin. Dee Dee just needs a minute alone." We walked to Mama's room. Just before Daddy opened the door, he said, "Mama's in there, Pumpkin, and Betty, Mama's nurse, is in there too." I frowned. "Why is there a nurse?" Daddy pushed open the door to Mama's room, and my Mama got up from the chair beside Mama's bed. Her eyes were red and her hair was all messy. Mama's hair was never messy. I saw the nurse at the back of the room. She was writing something on a clipboard. She smiled and waved at me when I came in. Then I looked to the bed. Mama was lying down. My stomach flipped when I saw a needle sticking in her arm, with a clear tube leading to a bag hanging off a metal hook at her side. I stood still, suddenly frightened. Then my mama moved toward me, and my mama looked my way. She looked different to last night. Her skin was paler, and her eyes weren't as bright. "Where's my little buddy?" Mama's voice was quiet and sounded funny, but the smile she gave me made me feel warm. Giggling at my mama, I rushed to the side of the bed. "I'm here. I came home early from school to see you." Mama lifted her finger and tapped the end of my nose. "That's my girl." I smiled real big in response. "I just wanted you to visit a little while. I always feel better with the light of my life sitting beside me and is talking to me." I smiled again, because I was the light of her life, the apple of her eye. She always called me those things. Mama secretly told me it meant I was her favorite. But she told me I had to keep it to myself so it didn't upset my cousins and little sisters. It was our secret. Hands suddenly gripped my waist, and my daddy lifted me to sit beside Mama on her bed. Mama took hold of my hand. She squeezed my fingers, but all I could notice was how cold her hands were. Mama breathed in deep, but it sounded funny, like something was crackling in her chest. "Mama, are you okay?" I asked and leaned forward to press a soft kiss on her cheek. She normally smelled of tobacco from all the cigarettes she smoked, but I couldn't smell the smoke on her today. Mama smiled. "I'm tired, girlie, and I'm..." Mama sucked in another breath, and her eyes briefly squeezed shut. When they opened again, she shifted on the bed and said, "And I'm going to be going away a while." I frowned. "Where are you going, Mama? Can I come too?" We always went on adventures together. Mama smiled but shook her head. No, girlie. Where I'm going, you can't follow. Not yet. But someday, many years from now, you'll see me again. My mama let out a sob from behind me, but I just stared at my mama, confused. But where are you going, mama? I don't understand. Home, sweetie. My mama said, I'm going home. But you are home, I countered. No. Mama shook her head. This isn't our true home, girlie. This life, well, it's just a great big adventure while we have it. An adventure to enjoy and love with all of our heart before we go on to the greatest adventure of all. My eyes widened with excitement. Then I felt sad, really sad. My bottom lip began to tremble. But we're best buddies, Mama. We always go on adventures together. You can't go on one without me. Tears had begun falling from my eyes down to my cheeks. My mama lifted her free hand to brush them away. That hand was just as cold as the one I was holding. We do always go on adventures together, girlie, but not this time. Aren't you afraid to go by yourself? I asked. My mama just sighed. No, girlie, there's no fear to feel. I'm not scared at all. But I don't want you to go, I pleaded. My throat started to ache. Mama's hand stayed on my cheek. You'll still see me in your dreams. This isn't a goodbye. I blinked and blinked again. Like you see Papa? You always say he visits you in your dreams. He talks to you and kisses your hand. Exactly like that, she said. I wiped my tears away. Mama squeezed my hand and looked at my mama behind me. When she looked back to me, she said, While I'm gone, I've got a new adventure for you. I stilled. You do? The sound of glass being placed on a table came from behind me. It made me want to look around, but before I could, Mama asked, Papi, what is it that I always say was my favorite memory from my life? The thing that always made me smile. Papa's kisses. His sweet boy kisses. All the memories of all the boy kisses you ever got from him. You told me they're the most favorite memories you have. Not money, not things, but the kisses you got from Papa. Because they were all special and made you smile, made you feel loved because he was your soulmate. Your forever, always. That's right, girlie, she replied. So for your adventure. Mama looked up to my mama again. This time, when I did look around, I saw she was holding a big mason jar filled to the top with lots and lots of pink paper hearts. Wow, what's that? I asked, feeling excited. Mama placed it on my hands, and my mama tapped the lid. It's 1,000 boy kisses, or at least it will be, when you fill them all out. My eyes widened as I tried to count all the hearts, but I couldn't. 1,000 was a lot. Papi, Mama said, as I looked up to see her green eyes shining. This is your adventure. How I want you to remember me while I'm gone. I looked down at the jar again, but I don't understand. Mama reached out to her nightstand and picked up a pin. She passed it to me and said, I've been sick for a while now, girlie, but the memories that make me feel better are the ones where your papa kissed me. Not just everyday kisses, but the special ones. The ones where my heart almost burst from my chest. The ones that Papa made sure I would never forget. The kisses in the rain, the kisses at sunset, the kiss we shared at our prom. The ones where he held me close and whispered in my ear that I was the prettiest girl in the room. I listened and listened, my heart feeling full. Mama pointed to all the hearts in the jar. This jar is for you to record your boy kisses, Papi. All the kisses that make your heart almost burst. The ones that are the most special. The ones you want to remember when you're old and gray like me. The ones that will make you smile when you remember them in your mind. Tapping the pen, she continued. When you find the boy that will be your forever always, every time you get an extra special kiss from him, take out a heart. Write down where you were when you were kissed. Then when your mama, too, your grandbaby, your best buddy, can hear all about them, just like I told you all about mine. You'll have a treasure jar of all the precious kisses. that made your heart sore. I stared at the jar and breathed it out. 1,000 is a lot. That's a lot of kisses, Mama. Mama, Mama laughed. It's not as many as you think, girlie. Especially when you find your soulmate. You have a lot of years ahead of you. Mama sucked in breath, and her face screwed up like she was in pain. Mama, I called, suddenly feeling scared. Her hand squeezed mine. Mama, open her eyes, and this time a teardrop fell down her pale cheek. Mama, I said, quieter this time. I'm tired, girlie. I'm tired. And it's nearly time for me to go. I just wanted to see you one last time, to give you this jar, to kiss you so I can remember you every day in heaven until I see you again. My bottom lip began to tremble again. My mama shook her head. No tears, girlie. This isn't the end. It's just a little pause in our lives, and I'll be watching over you every single day. I'll be in your heart. I'll be in the blossom grove that we loved so much, in the sun and the wind. Mama's eyes flinched, and my mama's hand came down on my shoulders. Papi, give Mama a big kiss. She's tired now. She needs to rest. Drawing in a deep breath, I leaned forward, and pressed a kiss on my mama's cheek. I love you, Mama, I whispered. Mama stroked my hair. I love you too, girlie. You're the light of my life. Never forget that I loved you as much as a mama ever could love her baby granddaughter. I held on her hand and didn't want to let go, but my daddy lifted me out of bed and my hand eventually broke away. I clutched onto my jar super tight, my tears dropping onto the floor. My daddy put me down, and as I turned to go, Mama called my name. Papi? I looked back. My mama was smiling. Remember, moonbeam hearts and sunshine smiles. I'll always remember, I said, but I didn't feel happy. All I felt was sad. I heard my mama crying behind me. Dee Dee passed us in the hallway. She squeezed my shoulder. Her face was so sad too. I didn't want to be in here. I didn't want to be in this house anymore. Turning, I looked up to my daddy. Daddy, can I go to the Blossom Grove? Daddy sighed. Yes, baby. I'll come and check on you later. Just be careful. I saw my daddy take out his phone and call someone. He asked him to check in on me while I was at the Grove, but I ran before I could find out who. I headed for the front door, clutching my jar of 1,000 empty boy kisses to my chest. I ran out of the house, then up the porch. I ran and never stopped. Tears fell down my face. I heard my name being called. Papi! Papi, wait! I glanced back and saw Arun watching me. He was on his porch, but immediately started to chase me over the grass. But I never stopped, not even for Arun. I had to get to the cherry blossom trees. It was my mama's favorite place. I wanted to be in her favorite place, because I was sad that she was going away, going to heaven, her real home. Papi, wait! Slow down! Arun shouted as I turned the corner to the grove in the park. I ran through the entrance. The large blossom trees, which were in full bloom, made a tunnel above my head. The grass was green beneath my feet, and the blue sky was above. Petals in bright pinks and whites covered the trees. Then at the far end of the grove was the biggest tree of all. Its branches hung low. Its trunk was the thickest in the whole grove. It was mine and Arun's absolute favorite. It was Mama's too. I was out of breath. When I got below Mama's favorite tree, I sank to the ground, clutching my jar as tears fell down my cheeks. I heard Arun stop beside me, but I didn't look up. Papiman, Arun said. That's why he called me. It meant my papi in Norwegian. I loved him speaking Norwegian to me. Papiman, don't cry, he whispered. But I couldn't help it. I didn't want my mama to leave me, even though I knew she had to. I knew when I returned home, Mama wouldn't be there. Not now, not ever. Arun dropped down to sit beside me and pulled in for a hug. I snuggled into his chest and cried. I loved Arun's hugs. He always held me so tight. My mama, Rune, she's sick and she's leaving. I know. My mama told me when I got back from school. I nodded against his chest. When I couldn't cry anymore, I sat up, wiping my cheeks. I looked at Rune, who was watching me. I tried to smile. When I did, he took hold of my hand and brought it to his chest. I'm sorry you're sad, Rune, Rune said as squeezed my hand. His t-shirt was warm from the sun. I never ever want you to be sad. You're Poppyman. You always smile. You're always happy. I sniffed and leaned my head on his shoulder. I know, but Mama is my best friend, Rune. I won't have her anymore. Rune didn't say anything at first, then said, I'm your best friend too, and I'm not going anywhere. I promise. Forever, always. My chest, which had been hurting so bad, suddenly didn't hurt as much. I nodded my head. Poppy and Rune for infinity, I said. For infinity, he repeated. We're going to leave it there for today. But I'll continue on again tomorrow.